Hi my lovely people, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another episode of First or Flanker, in which I compare perfume originals to flankers. I have been doing this for a while, you guys. As you know, I have posted about, I would say 6 or 7 episodes already. So I started this series a few months ago last year so that all of you out there who has trouble deciding between a perfume, original perfume, and all the subsequent flankers that they come out with. My goodness, so many flankers fragrance houses release sometimes, especially designer fragrance houses, that you can't keep up, you guys. It's really hard to decide, well, what should I get? Because you don't want to get the original and all of the flankers, so you want to get the best one out of them, right? So I've had that struggle before. I have struggled to decide, what to choose blindly without sniffing each and every one of them. And there was not much help on YouTube, and there weren't that many videos comparing perfume originals to its flankers. So I thought I would help you guys out and start this series. It started with a tag that I created, First or Flanker, comparing originals to flankers. And it was so popular that I turned it into a series. So welcome to another episode of First or Flanker. So if you guys want to see what perfume originals and the flankers that I compare them to and my thoughts on all of them, just keep watching. So before we get started, you guys, I wanted to remind you to subscribe to my new beauty channel, Cleo Beauty. I have moved all my makeup and beauty content to that channel so that this channel, Salon Cleo, can be focused on fragrances and lifestyle. So I hope you guys head on over there and subscribe to my channel. I look forward to seeing you there. I will put that link down in the description box for you guys. So you guys, the first pair, First and Flanker, that I have here to compare is one of my favorite super pretty fragrances, super feminine, super girly, flirtatious, fun, carefree, kind of beautiful spring summer scent. This is none other than Giorgio Armani My Way and My Way Intense. So you guys, I bought My Way and yes, this is such a pretty scent. Pretty is the word to describe this scent. It smells just like the color of the juice, It's very kind of pink, pretty kind of fragrance. It smells beautiful. It has a lot of tuberose with that slight bubblegummy scent to it. You know what I mean? You get the idea. It's a white floral fragrance, essentially. So when I first bought My Way, I thought, oh, amazing, this is beautiful. And then they came out with the Intense, the intense version. I mean, come on. Just release the intense version in the first place, right? Sometimes, though, originals tend to be better than the subsequent flankers, even better than Intense versions sometimes. So you know what, you never know, which is why I started this series. So let's get started. So let's talk about this one right here, the original My Way. Now this one is a very pretty scent, you guys. It smells just the way the juice looks, light pink, It's super pretty. It's a pretty white floral fragrance that's slightly bubblegummy. It's really gorgeous bubblegummy from that tuberose, of course. This is really gorgeous. This has a lot of white florals, but the star of this fragrance is tuberose. There are other white florals like orange blossom and Indian jasmine, I think, but tuberose is what comes through the most. You can smell that slightly bubblegummy tuberose with a little bit of sweetness, and then you have some citruses in this fragrance. It's a little animalic from the white florals. Yeah, but mainly you get those white florals in this fragrance. And then there's, of course, a big dose of vanilla in this fragrance that adds a little bit of sweetness to especially that tuberose, bubblegummy, creamy tuberose. Goes really well together, the vanilla. There's a little bit of woody hints to this fragrance, but just very slightly. Mainly you smell that tuberose, really, to be honest. Now let's talk about this one, the Intense version. So let's test this one, the Intense. So this is also super pretty, you guys. Super, super pretty. It's very similar to the original fragrance composition with some differences. I'll tell you what they are. This one is also a white floral fragrance, just like the original. Has tuberose, orange blossom for white florals. This has also a good dose of vanilla. There are woody notes, and then there are some citrus notes. The difference in this fragrance is the citrus, mainly to me, that the original bergamot in the original it doesn't come through very strongly. So the tuberose in the original tends to overpower even the top notes, you know, coming out right away. And the citrus that's in that original bergamot is not strong enough that it doesn't cut through the white florals, it doesn't stand out. Whereas in this one, on the Intense version, the citrus is bitter orange, and bitter orange is a very distinct citrus that you can definitely smell. And I feel like when you first spray this, that bitter orange really, you know, comes out like a burst, and you can smell that gorgeous bitter orange citrus in there with the orange blossom right in the opening. So yeah, you smell mostly the gorgeous bitter orange with the orange blossom, which I feel like bitter orange brings out the orange blossom more, so you can smell the orange blossom too without the tuberose sort of overpowering it. But then it sort of settles into the middle and you can smell that tuberose. So there are two kinds of tuberose in the middle of this fragrance. There's tuberose and then Indian tuberose. So it's tuberose through and through. So as it comes to the middle, like as it settles down into the middle, you can really only smell that tuberose, because there are double doses of tuberose in here. And then in the base, you get, just like the original, good big dose of vanilla, but with creamy, sensual sandalwood instead of cedar that's in the original. So I feel like cedar not being a very distinct, sort of strong kind of woody note that, you know, it doesn't have like a particular strong scent that overpowers usually. So because of that reason, again, tuberose in the other original sort of still shines there. Whereas here, as it dries down, you can smell that creamy, sensual sandalwood as well. You can smell that sweet vanilla. So I feel like just adjusting those few fragrance notes in the opening, middle, and base has kind of made the other fragrance notes also shine alongside the tuberose notes in here. But I will say in the middle, tuberose is super strong in this flanker, the Intense. You can really smell that bubble gumminess of the tuberose. You can smell it in the original as well, but the Intense is a little bit more interesting. Now, is it really intense? I would not say that this one particularly smells more intense, but rather it smells slightly different in a more interesting way, with that bitter orange that's in this fragrance and the creamy sensual sandalwood. There is a difference in this one, and then the double doses of tuberose makes it a little bit more sweet, more bubblegummy. On the Intense version, I wouldn't say that this is necessarily intense per se. And the lasting power, I would say, is quite similar. Maybe this one lasts a tad longer, but the performance is pretty similar, equal in both of these fragrances. So yeah, this is Giorgio Armani My Way and My Way Intense. So next I have two gorgeous, elegant, vintage smelling classic fragrances in my hands. They're none other than Chanel No. 19 and Chanel No. 19 Poudre. So you guys, these two, this one is the, of course, even more powdery version, Poudre. So let me spray the original No. 19. So I bought the original and I posted it. I hauled it on my channel and posted it on Instagram, and many of you told me that if you love No. 19, you gotta get the Poudre version because it's even better. And you guys were right. Oh, but I love No. 19 as well. But I will warn you, it is a very highly, highly green fragrance, as you can say. It's even the juice is super green. This is a very green fragrance. But you guys, I am a fan of green fragrance notes because green fragrance notes done right can be very exotic. I can add this amazing exotic vibes to fragrances like For example, Ralph Lauren Safari has some green fragrance notes that makes that fragrance absolutely exotic. But I will say, like, this one is a lot stronger, the original number 19 with the green, whereas the Poudre, I will get to it here in a second, not as strong with the green because of the blue purple powdery florals that dominate that fragrance. So the original is super green, super earthy and woody, you guys. Yes, some of you may not be fans of green, earthy, woody kind of fragrances, but you know, I love this fragrance because, you guys, Chanel knows how to do everything right. You know, how to put the elegance into any kind of fragrance accord. You know, even green fragrances, somehow they made it super elegant and super classy, super vintage and beautiful. So yeah, this also has some iris, like blue purple florals, adding that powdery iris vibes to this fragrance. This does have iris as well, and it is powdery, but it is also very aromatic. It's a little bit mossy, like that earthiness, like herbaliness a little bit, you know, with the green notes and the mossiness that gives it like that slight sort of sexy herbaliness. Herbally notes can be sexy, trust me, you guys. Chloe Nomad is a living proof for that statement right there. This also has, of course, white florals and some rose as well in here. Very elegant, very kind of elegant, sophisticated in a slightly, with a slight exotic edge, if you ask me. Chanel number 19. Now the Poudre. Now this one is a lot more powdery. So this one is more powdery than it is green, and as you can tell, the juice is even kind of lighter green, as you can tell side by side. So this is number 19 and this is the Poudre, and this one is lighter green. The cap here is frosted and this one isn't. So the Poudre, this one, as I said, is super powdery, very elegant from the powdery notes. As you know, the blue purple florals are so feminine and so powdery. Oh yeah, this one, I think that sort of sharpness of the green notes that you get in the original is tempered in the Poudre version by the gorgeous, feminine, elegant, powdery notes. So that's why you guys probably said you like this more, because this one is kind of sharp, the green notes in here, because there's nothing to moderate the green notes as much. Yes, there are some powdery notes, but they're not very strong in the original, whereas in this one, the powdery, beautiful iris violet type powdery notes really kind of softens the edges of the green notes, that super sharp exotic scent of the green notes. Poudre is more like a softer version of the original Chanel number 19 without the green notes being too sharp, right? Like I said, this is also like very iris, very powdery. It's also very green. It's woody. It's you know, quite aromatic as well, just like the original. So yeah, this one is iris. Like I said, it has iris with the powderiness and then violet, and then this is also quite green, just like the original, but the powdery blue purple florals are more dominant than the green notes in here, kind of moderating the green notes in here. So the biggest difference, like I said, I would say they are very much similar DNA. It's kind of like the original. This is kind of the other way around. The original is more intense and sharper green fragrance than the Poudre. Poudre is more feminine, powdery, and more ethereal than the original. The original has sharper green notes. This is green too, but not as sharp, the green notes. So if you are not a huge green floral notes fan, but you still want the beautiful sort of herbally sexiness, elegance of this fragrance, the vintage elegance, then I would recommend the Poudre version to you. If you twist my arm and ask me to pick one, I would say I agree with you. The Poudre is a little bit more soft. It's a little bit more moderated. It still has the green exotic notes in here, but with a softer edge, right? So I would say, yes, I do pick the Poudre just like you guys. So this is Chanel number 19 and Chanel number 19 Poudre. So next pair that I have here to compare is one that has been requested quite a bit since I hauled one of them in a recent video. I've had the other one for longer. So yeah, they are Mon Parfum by M. Micallef and Mon Parfum Cristal by M. Micallef. These two both, before I even begin, let me tell you, these two are my top 10, top 20 for life kind of fragrances. M. Micallef makes some of the most intoxicating fragrances, which, by the way, I featured both of these in my most intoxicating niche fragrances video. I'll link it up here and down in the description box. These are some of the most intoxicating, beautiful fragrances that perform like beasts. They are well worth the money, every penny, in my opinion, because my goodness, starting from the gorgeous bottle with the crystals to the performance of the juice and the scent, oh, so divine. I really don't want to spray these two because these two are quite the beast mode fragrances. I mean, I can smell it over here. So this one is gorgeous, you guys. These are both very much like, the similarity between these two is the fact they are both very sweet fragrances. And yeah, there are a couple of fragrance notes that are similar. But this one right here I'm holding in my hand smells different because of the patchouli note. This one has caramel, actual caramel in here, whereas the other one, I will get to that, has toffee, giving it also a caramel accord. So this one is essentially a sweet patchouli, white floral, woody, musky, vanilla. There's vanilla in this fragrance as well. Earthy kind of fragrance. There are some white florals in here as well. So that's what this is. The patchouli in here you can smell. This is so gorgeous, so intoxicating. The patchouli in here is not offensive. It's not a dirty kind of patchouli. It's a beautiful patchouli that complements that sweet caramel in this fragrance so well. So if you are somebody who's afraid of patchouli, or want to stay away from patchouli because some people aren't like super fans of patchouli, then I would recommend Mon Parfum Cristal to you. But I'm telling you, the patchouli in here is so stunning. Even if you're not a patchouli lover, you will love this fragrance because it's absolutely non-offensive. If anything, the patchouli adds beautifully to that sweet gourmand fragrance notes in this fragrance. This has passion fruit for a fruit note, this fragrance, which I think makes it so beautiful. I love the way passion fruit smells in fragrances, especially delicious gourmand fragrances like this one. And then you get that massive dose of vanilla. Vanilla's in the middle, so it's very sweet. The vanilla is there, a big, humongous dose. There's vetiver, adding that earthiness to the earthiness of the patchouli in the base. So in the base, you get that massive dose of caramel. That patchouli, you guys, really complements the caramel and vanilla in this fragrance. In my opinion, it's non-offensive, mixed with that passion fruit, the juiciness from that tropical, juicy, fruity note. It's absolutely stunning. It is so intoxicating. That was the first word that came out of my husband's mouth. When this arrived and I sprayed it on, he said, "Ooh, that smells so intoxicating." Need I say more? So let's get to Mon Parfum Cristal. Now this beauty. Ooh, this one smells quite oriental. There's a bit of an incensey vibe in this fragrance. Oh my goodness, this is even a bigger base than the other one. I mean, I can smell it from here. I kid you not. And both of these fragrances, you guys, when I wear these two, people can smell me miles away. Like literally one day I was wearing it to a function, and people in rooms could smell me in the hallway as I went past the rooms. I mean, that's how beast mode these are. They are a bang for your buck. Oh my God, this is such a beautifully sweet fragrance. It's so yummily beautiful and sweet in a very sexy way, though it's hard to describe. Oh my goodness. It's like the most beautiful sweet fragrance in my collection, bar none. This is so bewitching from that gorgeous rose and vanilla combination in the middle of this fragrance, you guys. When you add rose to vanilla, ooh, so divine. And you get that combo in many of the very popular beautiful fragrances like Maison Franciscagian Oud Satin Mood and Extrait de Parfum. And then you get that in Lancôme Oud Bouquet, Rose and Vanilla, match made in heaven. You know what I mean? This also has a lot of amber, you guys. As you can see, this is a very ambery juice. Look at that gorgeous, almost red juice from that amber. Obviously has amber. This has also a caramel accord, like I said, from that toffee note. It's got some beautiful spices. That's another difference between this and the original Mont Parfum. This one has some gorgeous warm spices and some soft spices that are so beautiful. This has that sort of oriental incensey vibe from all the fragrances mixed in this composition. It's giving this slight incensey vibe, kind of oriental vibes to me. It's kind of like an oriental gourmand fragrance. This is technically a fruity floral gourmand, but this is something that smells quite oriental to me. It is one of the most attractive, one of the most beautiful fragrances in my collection. So the difference basically in between these two, I would say, is that this smells more delicious, more edible. It has that gorgeous rose vanilla combination, this one, Mont Parfum Cristal, and this has that, you know, caramel coat from the toffee, which is really delicious. But this one doesn't have patchouli. You don't smell any patchouli in here. The spices in this fragrance is so beautiful as well in the composition. So Mont Parfum is sweet as well and delicious, has that caramel accord as well, just like this one. But the original Mont Parfum here is a little bit more earthy with that patchouli and the vetiver. That patchouli somehow isn't offensive at all. It adds beautifully to the caramel accord in this fragrance. But this one is not, I mean, this one's super sweet, but it doesn't smell oriental like this one does. This smells oriental from that rose, I think, the rose and vanilla combination with the other, you know, fragrance notes in here. This might actually have incense in it. It's not a revealed note anyway. But this one smells more oriental, and this one smells more like sweet, but slightly earthy in that kind of delicious way, whereas this one is straight out, flat out gourmand, sweet deliciousness with an oriental touch, you know. And of course this one doesn't have any amber, and this one is a big ambery fragrance, so that adds to that gorgeous deliciousness of the fragrance. Amber is a beautiful, almost edible smelling a resin note. I would say you have to have both of them in your collection. If you don't like patchouli, absolutely hate patchouli no matter how nice it smelled, then don't get this one, get the Mont Parfum Cristal. But if you are someone who doesn't mind patchouli too, then you need to have both of these. Unfortunately in this case there's no way to pick. They're both very stunning. But if you're asking me what I would pick, if you hold a gun to my head and ask me to pick one, then I would pick this one, just because it's a little bit more delicious with that oriental touch, even more intoxicating even than this. I would say like very, very spellbinding kind of nature to this fragrance. So it's M. Micallef Mont Parfum and M. Micallef Mont Parfum Cristal. So next I have a pair of very elegant fragrances that I've always wanted to add to my collection, and I have them both now. This is Tiffany Intense and Tiffany Rose Gold. So they are both in my collection now. I've wanted both of them for a very long time, and the difference is very clear between these two. So let me spray the Intense first. I'm not going to even bother about the original Tiffany. This is the Tiffany Intense. Original is basically a lighter version of this from what I can tell. So I will just compare these two. Oh my goodness, you guys. This one is a very, very super powdery blue purple floral fragrance. You know, you get the violet and the, you know, iris kind of blue purple florals that really dominate this fragrance. It's very, very ethereal, very, very elegant from the powderiness of those blue purple florals. So the star really of the Intense version, really those really intense blue purple floral notes in here. It's super powdery, it's musky, it's got that iris violet, you know, fragrance notes, giving it a huge powderiness to this fragrance. It's got woody notes, it's got vanilla, it's got a little bit of soft spice, it's a tiny tad bit sweet. So it opens with fruity notes like pear, there's pink pepper, and there's like mandarin leaf, I believe, adding a little bit of like that sort of citrusy green touch to the opening of this fragrance. And in the middle you get iris, rose, and jasmine in this fragrance. I will say though, I believe this has violet as well. It may not be a fragrance note that's revealed, but I will say there should be more than one blue purple floral in this fragrance. And in the base you get vanilla and benzoin, so it's got a pretty strong vanilla accord. Benzoin smells like vanilla too. It's a resin that smells like vanilla. And then there is that gorgeous dose of amber. There is cashmere with that slight cozy vibes, and then there's musk with the sexiness, and I believe there's like carrot seeds or something in here too, which I don't even smell that or know the difference really what it smells like. So that's the Entente. And now let me talk about the rose gold right here. Even the juice looks like rose gold, you know. Yeah, so let me spray this. The main difference between these two is quite easy to tell you guys. So now this one here is a lot more fruity than this one. This has got a beautiful juicy fruity burst as you spray it. It's quite refreshing, quite beautiful, quite elegant. This one is more of a very rosy. It's got a lot of rose in here, fruity notes, and it's very musky. So it's a very refreshing, airy, lighter, ethereal type of fragrance. This one, the Entente, you know, has that ethereal quality too, but it smells stronger, right, than this. This one smells very much like a, you know, warm weather fragrance. You can wear this in the middle of the summer in high heat and it would perform beautifully, this one, with that juicy freshness. And this also got those blue purple flowers in it, some woody notes, but this one is a lot more airy, more fresh than the Tiffany Entente. So let me tell you where that gorgeous burst of juicy fruity burst comes from. It comes from the blackcurrant note in the opening, you guys. Blackcurrant is the most juicy fruity burst that you can get in the opening of a fragrance. I absolutely love it when fragrances have blackcurrant in the opening. And then you get a big dose of rose and iris in the middle of this fragrance. Rose is very elegant, always an elegant flower, and that iris is beautiful and, you know, sophisticated and powdery. And in the base you get a big dose of musk, which makes it again like very fresh. And there's amberette in this fragrance. So yeah, this one I would say is something that's really good for like even super hot weather, you know, in the middle of the summer. Very refreshing, kind of elegant fragrance you can wear in the high heat. This one, Tiffany Rose Gold, whereas this one is something you can actually even wear in the colder months if you want to. You can actually go from, you know, late winter to all the way to beginning of summer with this one, and you can wear this in the summertime as well, but I wouldn't say high heat weather. No, probably not high heat for this one, but this one is very refreshing for high heat days. They're both elegant, both sophisticated, very, very, very stunning, but I would say this one is a lot more refreshing, very much fruity and rosy, whereas this one is more focused on the blue purple flowers, very, very super powdery and a little bit more intense, this one. Tiffany Entente and Tiffany Rose Gold. So here I have two flankers to an original that's very popular, and the original has a lot of flankers. This is just two of the flankers to the original. I am going to compare these two to the original because I remember like today smelling the original. Original basically is the base that all of these developed on top of. Yeah, this is Miss Dior Absolutely Blooming and Miss Dior Le Parfum. I will compare these two and these two to the original from memory. So I'm going to first sniff the Miss Dior Absolutely Blooming. This one is so stunning. I put this fragrance in my perfume gift guide this Christmas, for Christmas, you guys, because it's absolutely, ooh, so stunning. This is a very like super fruity, rose floral fragrance, the Absolutely Blooming. It has some musk and it's got some woody notes. It's a little bit fresh and it's got a slight hint of soft spicy in here. This is mainly rose and fruity. You know, it's very sort of refreshing and beautiful. Amazing fragrance, I would say, for spring and summer. So it opens with a bunch of really juicy fruity notes. There's blackcurrant, which is the queen of juicy fruity notes. There's raspberry and pomegranate, which is so stunning. The opening is such a burst of fruity notes with that pink pepper note, which is really nice and bright. The soft spicy touch that's added to it. And in the middle you get a gorgeous May rose and peony. Oh my lord, together peony and rose, so beautiful. And you get a massive dose of musk in the base. So those are the main keynotes in Absolutely Blooming. Now let me sniff Le Parfum. This one is hard to find, you guys. Mystio Le Parfum. I don't know if it's being discontinued. I don't know, I'm not quite sure, but anyway. So here is Le Parfum. Oh, now this one smells quite, I can smell the patchouli in this one. There's patchouli in this one. This one is deeper. It has that little bit of like, almost like incense, but not really, vibe to this. But I can smell that delicious patchouli with the sweet notes in there. When you put patchouli together with sweet notes, it smells almost edible, you guys, you know. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Like, for example, Black Orchid, Tom Ford Black Orchid. You know how you kind of want to eat that, like the patchouli in there with the gourmand notes in it. It's very ambery, this one. I mean, as you can tell, the juice color, it's an amber fragrance. There's a lot of amber in this fragrance, which is like what gives it that gourmand kind of vibes. Amber is a delicious, sweet, almost gourmand smelling russet note. So there's a lot of amber and quite a bit of patchouli that you can smell in this fragrance. And it's got a big dose of rose and there's vanilla. And again, when you put rose and vanilla together, so divine. Oh, so good. And this one is woody. It's balsamic. It's got also some spices and some citruses. There's a little bit of earthiness, obviously, from patchouli. So it opens with mandarin orange, the gorgeous citrus, and it in the middle has Bulgarian rose and Turkish rose, both beautiful, expensive rose notes. And then in the base you get that big dose of vanilla with amber, and then of course that noticeable patchouli that's in here. This one is more of a deeper, more nighttime version right here, Mystio Le Parfum, whereas Mystio Absolutely Blooming is very much a light, fresh, airy, musky, daytime wear fragrance that's fruity and juicy. So yeah, that's a huge difference between these two. I mean, you can tell by the juice colors too. This one is very serious and ambery, whereas this one is very light and kind of rosy. I would say this is spring summer, and this one is more like fall winter kind of fragrance. It's a little bit thicker. So I would say Mystio Le Parfum is reminiscent of the original Mystio, because the original Mystio also has patchouli, a good dose of patchouli. This one is like the more intense, more concentrated version, closer to the original than this one. This one goes in a different direction. This one, actually, the Absolutely Blooming, is closer to the Mystio Roses and Roses, which is another flanker which smells very similar to this one. I actually have Mystio Roses and Roses upstairs. I have a sample of it. I forgot to bring it down and compare with these. I'll do it right now. I can do it from memory. I know exactly how it smells. That one is very much about the rose, you know, hence the name, Roses and Roses. Very, very rosy. It's very musky as well. Again, fresh, sort of spring, summer kind of fragrance. Very beautiful kind of bouquet of roses with musk in it, really. And it's quite aromatic. It doesn't have any patchouli in it, for example. It's not a serious winter kind of fragrance. It's very much a summer, spring queen kind of fragrance, like summer, you know, a goddess wearing roses in her hair. That sort of fragrance. It's more similar to the Absolutely Blooming. So by the way, I love both of them. If you can tell, I love this one because it's more serious, more deep for different reasons than I love this one. This one is very girly, very feminine, very fresh for hot summer days. I love them both. I would say equally, but if you were to twist my arm, I would say I love Le Parfum more, just because I like more nighttime kind of scents more, the deeper scents more. Next, I have 3 fragrances, the original and 2 flankers, that I just don't understand why I haven't talked about these 3 fragrances. I am so baffled. These 3 are some of the best smelling designer fragrances in my collection, and somehow I keep forgetting or missing to speak about these. Anyway, I used to wear these non-stop just a couple of years ago. I still wear them, but they're gorgeous. They're none other than Coach, the original Parfum, and then I have Coach, the Eau de Toilette, and then I have Coach, the Floral Coach. Okay, so I have all 3 of them. Let me tell you, these are so stunning. I'll tell you how I got my hands on these fragrances, like way before I started my fragrance journey. I was at work somewhere one day at a work function, and this woman was wearing the original Coach right here. I didn't know that's what she was wearing. I mean, she smelled absolutely edgy and fashionable and sexy, and it was just so stunning. And I had to ask her, hey, what are you wearing? And she said, I'm wearing Coach. So that's how I found this fragrance way before I started my fragrance journey, really. And this is one of the first fragrances that I added to my collection, and I cannot believe I forgot to talk about this. So anyway, let me smell this. This is one of those fragrances that remind me of France and fashion, you know. It smells very fashionable and edgy and very good. Like, what's the word I'm looking for? It smells like stylish. It smells stylish. It's really amazing fragrance. It smells French to me, like a French fragrance, you know. It reminds me of Princess Mariana de Bourbon fragrance that I bought inside the Palace of Versailles, you guys, on honeymoon. These all smell very fashionable, really very stylish. The original is a very fruity, musky, floral fragrance that's very airy, very light, fresh. It's got a lot of rose in it. It's got woody notes. It's a little bit powdery. Here is the fashionable part. This has leather, a leather accord in it, which adds that gorgeous, luxurious, expensive kind of touch to this fragrance. I'm telling you guys, leather really makes fragrances smell fashionable, stylish, luxurious. So it has a juicy, bright opening with raspberry, pear, and pink pepper. Juicy, fruity notes and pink pepper, a soft spice. It's beautiful. Pink pepper is the best soft spice ever, if you ask me. And then you guys, in the middle, you get some of the most beautiful florals. There's rose, of course, there's gardenia. Oh, gardenia, you guys, is absolutely stunning. And there's that fantasy fragrance, floral fragrance note, cyclamen in here as well. To be honest, I don't know what cyclamen smells like, but I smell the gardenia and the rose. And that additional thing I smell, I'm assuming, is cyclamen. And this has a very sexy base, you guys. It has suede, giving that leather accord to this fragrance, which makes it absolutely fashionable, luxurious. There's cashmere in with that little bit of coziness. There's musk with that sexiness, and there's sandalwood. So let me compare it to the Eau de Toilette. So now this is the Eau de Parfum in the gold bottle. I went so crazy about it. I bought every flanker I could find of it, because even the Eau de Toilette, I'm usually not a huge fan of Eau de Toilette, but I had to have it in every kind of version, you guys, because it's such a beautiful fragrance. So of course, the Eau de Toilette is very, very much even more light, fresh, and airy, you guys. So beautiful. Imagine spraying yourself right out of the shower with the Eau de Toilette. So the Eau de Toilette, the difference is that this has a lot of citruses, making it very light, airy, and fresh. This also has rose and musk and woody notes and fruity notes, just like the original. This is basically a lighter, airier, fresher version of the original. This one, of course, doesn't have the leather note in it. So this is more of a after shower, freshen up your body kind of fragrance, whereas this one is like sexy smelling, very edgy, very stylish, fashionable smelling. This one feels refreshing for like a hot, super hot summer day. This would be like a bucket of water, you know. It would be really refreshing. So I have the floral version of it right here as well. This is, I believe, Eau de Parfum. Now this one, the difference is that this one has a lot more white florals in this one and other florals. Oh yeah, again, this one is very floral, very white floral. It's sweet, it's fruity. It also has some musk. It's got rose in it. It's fresh. It smells a little bit like tropical from the white florals. I believe there might be yellow florals in here as well. This is basically floral through and through, this one, with a little bit of fruitiness and a little bit of muskiness. This has tea rose, there's gardenia, there's hedione, there is jasmine as well in this fragrance. And then this one has a lot of woody notes in the base along with sandalwood. There's a little bit of patchouli, there's a lot of vanilla, and there's musk in this one. So yeah, this one is very floral focused. If you ask me, what do I like more out of the three, I would have to say the Coach, the original, the gold one. This one is so much sexier because of the leather accord in here. The suede really makes it smell very stylish, very fashionable. So last but not least, I have a pair here that I really want to compare. You guys probably do too. This one is Jean Paul Gaultier Classique, the original, and this is Jean Paul Gaultier Classique Intense, which, by the way, apparently has been or is being discontinued. It was next to impossible to get a hold of this teeny little bottle. I think this is 30 ml, and I paid through the teeth for this tiny bottle, way more than what it sold for when it wasn't being discontinued. But anyway, that's beside the point. I'm crazy, you guys. In case you want to get a hold of them, you still can get a hold of the Classique Intense. It's selling out really fast everywhere. Just make sure, you know, you Google it and you find it before it goes completely out of our lives, you know, goes away. So let me try the Classique, the original, first. This is such a beautiful feminine fragrance, you guys. This one, you guys, has a lot of vanilla, a lot of white florals. It's a little sweet. It's got aldehydes, so it's a little bit aldehydic. You can really smell the aldehydes with those white florals in this fragrance. This is also very fresh, you guys, although there are deep fragrance notes like amber in here. This has got some freshness about it, probably from the aldehydes. You know, aldehydes kind of give fragrances this sort of sunny brightness, you know, to fragrances, like freshness. And this is also a little bit soapy. I think it's the combination between the aldehydes and the white florals, if you ask me. Yeah, it's got a little bit of soapiness to it. It's fresh, despite the fact there's amber in here. Obviously, you can tell the juice, there's amber in it. But it smells different from what it looks like, I'm telling you. The aldehydes in here really, you know, kind of puts a sort of twist to it, you know, kind of takes it in a different direction than what you expect it to smell like looking at the bottle, the juice. It's a little bit milky, creamy from the whipped cream note. It's a little lactonic from the whipped cream note that's in the base. It gives it a sweetness to this fragrance as well. And then this has vanilla and benzoin adding to that like lactonic sweetness from the whipped cream, which the base, as it dries down, it's really beautiful, creamy and sweet. And vanilla, you know, it dries down to a beautiful amber vanilla, if you ask me. And then there's that massive dose of amber, of course, in the base. I don't think amber is a revealed note in this fragrance, but there's definitely amber in this fragrance. I mean, look at the juice color. I mean, duh, it's like a dead giveaway. There's amber in it. Okay, so let me now try the Classique Intense. It's tiny, you know, very tiny. This one is a very much a through and through and through white floral fragrance. This one is very much about the white florals, not like this one, not like the original. This is kind of odd, actually. So this is supposed to be, let me put the strip down for 1 minute. So this is supposed to be the original and this is supposed to be the Intense. but it's the other way around. It should have been like this. I mean, even the juice color tells you, right? I mean, this one looks less serious than this one, doesn't it? This one looks more intense to me with the amber and everything, with the more serious notes, right? So yeah, there's nothing intense about this one. This is definitely not an intense, not a true intense version of the original Classique at all. These are two absolutely different fragrances, other than the fact that they both have white florals. I can't even tell there if there's like DNA in there that's common, really. Like, this smells like a completely different fragrance. This one is very much a white floral, very much through and through beautiful, beautiful, ethereal, gorgeous, feminine white floral fragrance. So yeah, this one is all about white florals, has a big dose of vanilla. There are woody notes, some fruity notes. There's a little bit of patchouli in here. I tell you the secret of this fragrance smelling divine. It's Tahitian tiare flower. Now there's the difference. It's what I smell the most, more gorgeously. The Tahitian tiare flower that is in the opening of this fragrance with that juicy pomegranate note. You guys, the Tahitian tiare flower has this gorgeous tropical white floral scent that's absolutely bewitching, narcotic, hypnotic, you know. And then of course in the middle this has jasmine and orange blossom with rose. Tiare flower has that very tropically sort of beautiful, like bewitching scent. And then in the base this has a big dose of vanilla with patchouli. Although the patchouli is not offensive, I really don't smell earthiness from the patchouli that's in here. It's very, very subtle, very well blended into the composition. So if you're afraid of patchouli, don't fear. This one does not smell, you can't smell the patchouli very much in this fragrance. It's the white florals that speak in this fragrance with the vanilla. And if you ask me what do I like better, well, I gotta say, as unique as this is, it's a little bit like odd, you know, with the three different things, like going from aldehydes, brightness to white florals to then sort of a gourmand, you know, sweet gourmand in the base. It's beautiful, but I gotta say I am a huge tropical white floral fan, you guys, especially florals like tiare flower. So this really won my heart with the tiare flower in it and everything. So my personal favorite is this one, but I can see a lot of people really loving this one for its originality, the uniqueness of this fragrance. So this is Jean Paul Gaultier Classique and Jean Paul Gaultier Classique Intense. So you guys, that's it. Those are all my originals, firsts, and flankers to compare in this video. I had, I believe, 7 sets of originals and flankers, and I will be bringing another episode of First or Flanker as I acquire more fragrances and I have more, you know, originals and flankers to compare. And I know you guys love this series. This is a very popular series and you guys keep asking me to do more episodes, so I needed to do one in the new year. I hope you liked this video, you guys. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, that red button right there, and ring that notification bell for all notifications. You'll have 3 options, so pick all notifications so you'll never miss another video of mine. And I hope you follow me on Instagram because I post a lot of really fun content on there. So also, you guys, don't forget to go on over to my new beauty channel and subscribe to it and follow me there. So head on over there if you want to see my makeup and beauty content. I will see you guys in my next video.